So today we're exploring why money will never actually make you secure, and believing that it does is probably keeping you stuck in an unfulfilling job and life. Welcome to Follow the Calling.
Be confident in knowing how to get the results you want.
Be secure in knowing who you really are.
Be inspired by the possibility of the difference you're here to make.
Follow your calling and experience true fulfillment. Welcome to another episode of Follow the Calling. And today we are talking about money. And if you're anything like us, money is the very thing that kept both of us actually stuck in feeling stuck in unfulfilling jobs and ultimately creating a feeling of unfulfillment in our lives too. And a large part of that was because we felt like money was the way for us to be secure. I mean, everybody has bills to pay, right? So I'm wondering, Andy, if you can start by sharing a bit about what your experience around this looked like.
Yeah, sure. So there was many years that I was drifting in and out of jobs, coming out of school, and, I was never really happy in a job. And come the day that I actually decided to take a stand and go, right, enough's enough. I'm going to change my career. I'm going to forge my own direction, and I'm going to create something for myself. I found myself, looking back, like I know that the main criteria that I set for myself in order for which to choose the new direction, bearing in mind I could have chosen anything, was, right, what's going to pay me enough money? And that was my number one question. And looking back, it's easy for me to say now, of course, but looking back, it was the worst thing I did, was to choose the career based on how much money it was going to pay me. Because, I was sole provider, and I still am sole provider for my family. And of course, it is important that I earn enough money to support them, of course. But, what I wasn't taking into account was that money is not the source of security that will be supporting my family. What that was really was me, and whatever I had chosen to do would have yielded the support that I needed for myself and my family. It's just that I was not secure enough in the belief of myself to choose a career direction, a new career direction, based on who I am rather than how much money I can earn. I was just basically saying, right, what do I already know how to do? And where can I place those things in? Where can I fit that knowledge into the world that will pay me enough money so that I don't have to think about it?
Yeah.
But the trouble is that that's a very survival orientated way of thinking. And what I found out quite quickly is that although it didn't, it ended up drawing out as quite a long, painful process of change. But what I found out quite quickly was that there's no meaning or joy in survival, not for human beings, really. It's like, because once you have it, you want more. And there's just this constant feeling of more, because we're infinite beings and survival is not enough. Human beings, I truly believe, have not been are not built to just purely survive. We're not animals, and we have a sense of being that goes far beyond just surviving. And as soon as we have our survival needs taken care of, we become painfully aware of the need for more than survival. So there I was, placing my all of my needs in the bucket of survival only. And then once I was there, it was no surprise to me at all that I became unhappy really quickly. I was really stuck because I was like, well, what am I going to do? Because everything I know how to do is not really lighting me up. If I'm going to change direction, it's going to mean taking a risk with not earning so much money. And, there's lots of things involved there, right? So for a long time, I was stuck there, and it was not good. And it had a big knock-on effect in my happiness and how I was with my family. And, oh my God, it caused a lot of unhappiness in my life, and that was all because I wasn't following what I felt I was built to do in life.
Mm-hmm. I really like that. Yeah, I really like the survival is not enough. Survival is not enough. And I can really see how that played out in my life too. It's like the society, I'll just say society, the societal norm is to go out there and be able to survive. That's the plan. To go out there and be able to survive, to get a real job, to to make a good living for yourself. And that really is based on a mentality of survival. You need to make sure that you can, put a roof over your head and put food in your mouth. It was just bringing me really present to my own experience in that. So I went to school to be a nurse. I knew that I didn't want to be a nurse already, but nurses make good money. That is a stable career to choose. It's not like nurses are going to go away.
Right.
And really that wasn't the whole plan, but that's not the point of this podcast. I went into that though, and then I just got stuck because I decided I didn't want to go back to school. And then that's the way that I knew how to make money. Yeah. And even to consider a career change, which came up so many times for me, because even in going into nursing, again, I knew that that's not where I wanted to be. So immediately I was looking for a way out, but I made good money. I made good money. And so to even consider making a career change was difficult because I'd spent a lot of money getting my nursing license, getting my nursing education, so if I abandon ship now, then like what a waste all of that has been. So I always felt like I needed to make it worth it. Like this is what I chose. So now I'm stuck with it. Yeah. And it's just never going to be reasonable or responsible for me to choose another career because there isn't anything that I could think of that wasn't going to require another large investment from me to go back to school or something, which I wasn't interested in, or to start at the bottom of the totem pole again, in a new career, and that was going to make me the kind of money that I could make nursing. And so there were many times when I had the opportunity actually to exit that career. Yeah. And I always ended up getting sucked back in. It's just like, well, here's a job that'll make you good money. You can do that. You're qualified. And so I would end up being in that again. And as soon as I was back in, it was all about how do I get out? Yeah. How do I get out? But I had bills to pay. I had a house payment. I had insurance and food and a lifestyle that I was used to living. Yeah. And I just felt trapped by this career that I'd chosen and being the responsible adult, and not going after my lofty dreams. And I think the other thing that I always feel pulled to say here is that calling would not leave me alone I knew there was more for me in life. I knew there was more for me. And as much as I tried to be grateful and just accepting of what it was that I had, because it's not a bad life, right? I just knew there was more. And so I had to keep looking. And yeah, it just feels like a big waste of energy, actually.
Yeah, right. I think a lot of what you're saying there is that's resonating with me as well, is the idea that it's what you were saying about how you became fixed, how you put so much effort and time and maybe money as well into your training and your direction, and then you'd become fixed. It was like you'd invested yourself so much in it that you can't turn around now, right?
Yeah.
So think about what that is. It's like if you're like walking down the street and it's this big long road, right? And halfway down that road, you realize you're going down the wrong road. It's a dead end street. But you've spent so long going down that road that now you're just going to carry on going in the direction that you don't want to go. So I don't think you do that, would you? You would turn around, and the quicker you turn around, the better, right? Because then you're going to get back. Okay, there's a little bit of backtracking you're going to have to do, right? But the quicker you turn around, the less backtracking you're going to have to do, the quicker you can get back on course. And for me, it was like I was very stuck. Like I did exactly the same thing. I felt very invested in my direction. I had spent a lot of time teaching myself a whole new direction of graphic design. I had spent a lot of time getting myself into the design agencies that, basically forging a career for myself in a direction that I'd never done before. And I was really proud of that achievement. And it was an achievement. But the point is, once I got it, I realized it was the wrong achievement.
Yeah.
And what was missing for me was meaning.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning. There was no meaning in what I was doing. It didn't mean anything to me. It was just money.
Isn't it really, really amazing that like the amount of effort that you had to put into recreating yourself in a new career, the amount of effort that I put into trying to find a way out of a career that I felt stuck in, or even in learning new skills and in taking on new jobs and moving in different areas within nursing. Like, we're not bumps on a log. There is real drive behind what it is that we do. And so I just find it really interesting that there can be that kind of drive and motivation around working for somebody else, around bringing money into your life. And I want to be specific in saying in a way that feels acceptable to society and or your friends and family. There is a real drive to doing that. But when it comes to our dreams, when it comes to the things that we feel passionate about, it's like we turn into mice.
Yeah.
Just tiptoeing around, hiding away in the shadows, minimizing all the qualities really that we know that we have to bring to the table. And
because none of it feels solid, does it? We've got this idea that it's not solid, it's not reliable, it's not sensible, or it's not the grown-up thing to do, is it, to follow your dreams or to and so it's very much about it becomes about chasing money. And because the reason being, for me anyway, in my experience, it was like there was no security in being who I was and going down my dreams route, so much so that I didn't even consider it. I mean, like to completely change direction, and then the first thing to say, right, what's going to earn me enough money, like you did. how can I earn enough money? Right, nursing's a good career. That'll pay me some money. I'll go down there. I did the same with graphic design. And both of us knew we didn't really want to do that. Mm-hmm. I knew in my heart of hearts that music was always my first love. And that would have been the road I probably would have gone down at that juncture had I have followed a more authentic route. And yet I actively chose, I just immediately discounted that because I saw my safety in money rather than my safety my security, not my safety, my security and my family security in money, not in me. And what I was completely neglecting to take a look at was that I am the source of all my results. I am the source of all my security.
Right.
And wherever I go, that goes with me. Right.
Yeah. I am the one who got through nursing school. You are the one who, recreated a career in graphic design and taught yourself. I am the one who got every job that I've ever had. I am the one who showed up and brought the paycheck home, so that's what I was saying. Like, there's so much that we bring to the table, so many skills, so many gifts, so many talents that are brought to the table in every space that we've ever brought money into our lives. And it's like immediately as you begin to think about living into your bringing more of your gifts and talents into the world, living into your dreams and passions, it's like all of those things cease to exist. And you're now incapable and reckless and irresponsible because it's about the believing in yourself or seeing yourself as your own sense of security. But the truth is you always have been. You always have been.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you know what? It's like, it's amazing, isn't it? That we still, as a collective, see money as a source of security. I mean, okay, we need money, right? But it's not the source of security. And what I'm saying here is you don't need to look very far to see this be completely undermined and disproved, right? I mean, I know several people who have earned 6-7 figures a year, high earners, and they're unfulfilled and unhappy in their job, and yet they're stuck and they can't move because it's the classic golden handcuffs situation where they've become accustomed to a certain way of living, and they've become accustomed to not having to think about money. It's all taken care of, and they kind of attribute that sense of security to being in that job. But the point is that job is making them deeply unhappy, and that, like me and you, who weren't particularly high earners, we were earning enough, but not particularly high earners. The same was true for us. We were stuck too. So it's not the money. It's like whether you're earning hundreds of thousands, if not millions a year. If you're unhappy, you're unhappy. And, if you see your sense of security in money, then you're going to find yourself being stuck in situations that don't serve you, that don't light you up, that don't answer to that calling for more in your life.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So I feel like this is a good point to kind of give the other side of the story. So, once you came to this realization that money is not your source of security and that you are, how did things begin to change for you?
Well, let me tell you, that took time. That wasn't a sudden thing. That took a lot of time to sink in, if I'm honest. But I think really the shift for me, the thing that started that shift to begin with was the realization that everything I was doing wasn't working. And it was like, look, this isn't working. I've got no choice but to follow a much more authentic direction, something that's aligned with who I really am as a person and has nothing to do with money. and money will be a byproduct of that. Right. So money is a byproduct of that, but money is not the focus. When and when I started shifting my focus onto doing something that was aligned with my purpose and my values and who I am as a person, something that brings me joy, something that brings meaning to my life, that gives me a reason so worthwhile for getting up in the morning that I feel that nothing's going to stop me or stand in my way. Right. When that started happening in the direction that, that we've taken now in creating the Polaris game and this whole community that we're bringing together now, the meaning that that's bringing to my life and the level of fulfillment is just, it's night and day. It's not comparable to before. And yet at the same time, we're currently in a space where money isn't particularly abundant at all. But it's just not our focus. But we know that is a byproduct of what we're doing. But it's just kind of, that's something I feel I want to leave to take care of itself. And I will be responsible around my financial decisions, of course. I won't be careless. But the point is, it's not my focus. And therefore, I'm not chasing money, because the thing is, when you see money as, before, when I saw money as the source of my security, I was chasing money. It's like when I didn't have it, I was chasing it. And when I did have it, I was trying not to lose it. I was finding ways to try and keep hold of it, or what to do with it, or where to put it to make the most interest, or so that it would be safe. Or it was just like never happy, really, because I was placing my security outside of myself in money. And the point is now, it's like, I know that wherever I go and what we're creating here together is so worthwhile with the Polaris game. The difference it's making in people's lives is huge. And no money can replace that. But money is a side effect of that. We absolutely will be taken care of in that way. And it's beautiful to just have that feeling and that trust and that knowing that we will be taken care of, because we are living a life that is aligned with who we are, a life that is aligned with truth. Yeah. Is what I want to say. Yeah.
Yeah. I think for me, I wanted to leave nursing for so long. And one day I was taking a walk, and I actually had taken some vacation from my work to work on my business. And, began to slowly begin working into the thing that I wanted in my life, so that I could still have security and having my nursing job and build this other thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I'm taking a walk on vacation, to lay some foundations for the business that I was thinking that I wanted to build. And I just heard, what if you went back and gave your notice? And I want to say, like, this was at the most what felt like the most inopportune time for this to come up for me. I mean, I just bought a new car. I was just signed a new lease on a place, and several different things. And it just would not go away. And on that walk, for a split second, it was like everything blurred together. There was a complete sense of oneness. And what I heard was, you will never know what is on the other side of this nursing career unless you drop it.
Yeah.
You will never know what the universe has to offer you unless you let go of the money, because that's what that was for me. Yeah. It was the money. That's all that it was.
It's a means to an end, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And so I went back to work the next week and gave my notice with minimal savings, with a stack more of bills than I'd had just months previous to that.
Yeah.
And I haven't looked back. And it has been one of the most liberating, fulfilling experiments of my life. Like the key thing here is I'm not dead. You know,
Right,
I'm still able to I'm still able to pay my bills. I mean, I know how that's happening, but I could never have imagined that I would have been able to do it for as long as I've been able to, and not bringing in the replacement of the income that I was making yet.
Absolutely. It staggers me how myself and you, with such limited financial resources, by not focusing on them, how long we've made whatever we did have last.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just like, as you know, as life goes on, I'm finding that things just come along at the right time. Things come along at the right time to get me to the next step, And I just truly believe that the reason why that's happening is because I've committed to to entering into a conversation with life.
Yep.
Whereby I'm living a life that's based on truth of who I am. And how can that not be looked after? How can that not be taken care of? Because in truth, I'm entering into a oneness with all that is. And as part of that oneness, how can I not be taken care of? And it's proving itself. And it's scary sometimes.
Oh my gosh, it's so scary. Like that was one of the scariest moves I've ever made, but I'd been feeling to do it for a long time and I just never had the courage.
No.
I never had the courage to do it.
Well, the thing is, it got to the point where I just couldn't carry on. I knew that something was going to have to give, and I did not want that to be my health or worse.
Yeah.
And it was going that way. Believe me, I was close to finding myself in hospital. My health was taking a rapid downward turn because of how deeply unhappy I was becoming and how stuck I was, and everything that I was trying was just leading me with more of the same, because I was placing my happiness outside of myself.
And your security. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. I mean, really, exactly that. So, you know, it's not a sustainable way of living. It works for a short period of time, but it's absolutely not sustainable because it's not based on truth. It's like I was living a lie.
Wow.
I was pretending to be someone else. I was putting my life on hold so that I could just earn money. But then once I was earning money, I was like, well, this is impossible. And then that went on and downward spiral ensues, right?
We were both wearing a mask in our lives.
We were the mask of the shadow.
Yes, playing in the shadows, you know, trying to depress who we really are to fit in with what it was that we thought we should be doing and where our security is.
Yeah. Playing our gifts and talents down because we both knew that we had things that we were born to do, and yet we purposely just discounted those things and put them aside because, well, it just doesn't earn money. It's not safe, is it? It's not secure. Right. It's not grown up. It's not responsible.
Yes.
And yet here we are taking more responsibility than we've ever taken, and having to be more discerning and grown up, if you like, for one, you know, there's that word, than we've ever been, you know. And I truly believe that to follow a life that is aligned takes great responsibility, because freedom and responsibility are two sides of the same thing. You do not get freedom without taking responsibility, and they're proportional to each other. So a life of freedom is a life of taking responsibility.
Yes. And the choice everybody gets to make here is whether they want to continue to live life as the masked shadow, constantly feeling insecure, chasing money if you don't have enough, or fighting to keep it if you do. Right?
Oh, yes, exactly.
Being busy, stuck, tired, and not living into your full potential. You can keep choosing that. Or you can choose, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, you could just realize money for the illusion that it is, and just, live life as the limitless voyager, whereby you are the source of all your own results. You are the source of your own security. You are the source of your own fulfillment. And that money is just a byproduct of you being who you already are. That's the key point I want to make here. The limitless voyager knows they're already enough. The limitless voyager, knows that they're already enough. And, money is a byproduct of who you already are. Any money you've ever made has only ever been because of who you already are.
Yes.
And that can continue, except it can continue in a way that brings meaning and joy and fulfillment to your life.
Absolutely. I can't think of a better place to leave this. So I think we just do.
Sure.
Thank you for joining us. And we'll see you guys on the next episode.
Thanks, Tiff. See you later.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for showing up for yourself and exploring this space with us. We are a stand for you to follow your calling, whatever that might be.
Be sure to subscribe, and if you're interested in playing with the concepts that we share in this space, we'd encourage you to go to thepolarisgame.com/play and grab our free training. And you can also find that link in the show notes.